All right, Chris speaks back here with Brandon Moseley for our BCS State of Alabama podcast, and we got Representative Ed Oliver here with us today. Hey, Representative Oliver, I remember back in late 2024, I talked to you, and we had a big problem in some of our cities with like Haitian and Somalian refugees, and it was putting a strain on a lot of our like local hospitals and stuff. Do we still have that problem?
Not here, not in my district.
Okay.
They're gone.
Representative Oliver, I was with you, I think it was this past Wednesday when we opened the Veterans Resource Center in Montgomery. I think that was a bill that you worked on previously, and they got that done in just 12 months. What about
Yes,
that?
sir. A lot of work, an awful lot of work. They did a very good job of putting together a board that worked very hard. They were able to find space. They were able to hire the people that needed to be hired. Got a great director for the Veterans Resources Center. Uh, Very proud of the way that turned out.
Representative
And
Oliver, I
they'll
don't
have
know
no,
that oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, they'll have an open house this week.
Um, I know that keeping rural hospitals open and funded has been a priority of yours. Do you know if they're going to be any in trouble or any trouble with the cuts to Medicaid?
Uh, I don't think so. I think the Rural Transformation Act will counteract any of the Medicaid challenges that they have. I think in rural hospitals, what we're more concerned about is one is insurance reimbursements. Uh, Two would be ambulance services and outreach and the services that we provide in rural areas. I don't know if you're following House Bill 400, which is an ambulance bill that I've got right now in the legislature. It's in committee tomorrow, I believe, or no, I'm sorry, Wednesday. Uh, it is a 3-year study that imposes a minimum reimbursement rate for ambulance services and implements a program called Treat in Place. Currently, if an ambulance goes on a call and they don't transport, they don't get paid, even though they do render services on the scene. This program, they actually get paid at the lowest basic life support transport rate for those services. The other thing that does is like in some areas, you'll have a pickup truck or a van, which does not transport patients. That way, if you're in a rural area in particular and your ambulance has gone to Birmingham or someplace way away, you've still got life-saving care in your local area while you wait for an extended ambulance time. So we think this will be very positive for rural health in Alabama.
Representative Oliver, on that topic, um, what do you do with a county with like 25,000 people? I mean, they need ambulance service, they need EMT service, but it's hard to make that a viable business when you just don't have that many calls, because there's just your population's low.
Brandon, you're exactly right. If you don't have enough volume, and it falls on the county government, they are the government from county line to county line, and they have to decide how to provide those services, whether it's contracting with an ambulance service that from another place, whether it's trying to figure out how to provide those services within the county commission itself. Uh, Coosa County, which I used to represent before we redistricted, their county commission actually passed a tag referendum to raise enough money to pay for an ambulance. They are about to get their second ambulance, and they are going to do the treat in place pickup truck as well. So it can be done. Coosa County is as low a population as you can find in an Alabama county, and if they can pull it off, any county can.
Representative Oliver, here a few weeks ago, we just had a bills that was put through to try to change the PSC to make them appointed. What was your take on that?
Uh, I don't have any problem with moving it to the governor and making an executive branch decision as long as the people have a way to vote for or against that. You can obviously vote for your governor or vote against the governor. I didn't really feel good about the two leaders of the House and Senate because they run in their own districts, and obviously the rest of the state can't vote for them. So I did find that problematic.
Um, Representative Oliver, we had a little bit of change in the House leadership. I think Representative Stadthagen stepped down, and Representative Paul Lee is your new majority leader. Can you tell us, about why the change was made and what direction you think this is taking the House Republican caucus?
Well, Scott Stadthagen obviously is running for the chairman of the Alabama Republican Party, and I think he will do great things there. I think he's a conservative. I believe that he is for the conservative issues that most Republicans in this state stand for. At the same time, Paul Lee is a very capable person who has proven himself in the Alabama House for many, many years. He is chairman of the Health Committee, and I did serve as his vice chairman. So I think we're winners on both counts.
We see that we've got several different people running for this. Former Secretary of State John Merrill, Stan Cook, Chairperson Reynolds. Is there a schism now with the leadership of the Democrat or Republican Party?
Uh, I can't answer that. But what I would say is you've got some good people. But I would tell you that I think Scott would be my pick for several reasons. But the main one is because I'm a conservative. I think most folks are conservatives in this state that are Republicans. And I think that understanding the legislature and how it works and being able to lead the 400 plus executive committee, the members of the executive committee, I think Scott is the person that can do that. I think Joan Reynolds has done an outstanding job for many, many years. But in this particular case, I think Scott Stadthagen is the pick.
Representative Oliver, the Senate last week passed a bill by Shay Shelnut to limit some of the more, I'll just say, out there components in sex education in the state. What do you think that bill's prospects are when it gets to the House?
I could not tell you. I'm not really familiar with Senator Shelnut's bill at this point. Obviously we've got it rocking and rolling down in the House right now. About midway through the session, you'll see us start changing up bills, and we get concerned once those bills start making it to the other houses.
Representative Oliver, I think we have another some more gambling bills introduced. Do you foresee them passing this time?
I know. I just don't think we'll spend the time deliberating on it. And I will tell you, it's an election year, and nobody wants to fool with it. So it's something I wish we would get settled, but I don't think it's going to be this session.
Representative Oliver, we had a bill that I think Press Pringle carried that passed out of the House that it changes where these appointment, creates a point, we have appointment authorities, but in the past, they appointed somebody to a 4-year term or 6-year term. That person was there whether they did the job or not. And, unless they got convicted of something, they were just there occupying a seat on a board. Now the appointing authority can replace the person.
Right.
What was impetus for that?
I think there are a number of things, but of course you followed the issue last year that with the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs. I think that was one, and there are complaints about all sorts of other boards and appointments. So I think you should be able to remove someone that you appoint.
Representative Oliver, they finally passed a bill authorizing the execution of child rapists. Do you know if that bill is going to let people sit on death row for 30 or 40 years like they do now?
And that I couldn't answer. Obviously, there would be appeals just like you have in any death penalty case, and there would probably be no difference.
Representative Oliver, I think Representative Ingram has had a bill, to allow to raise the penalties for eluding the police. Has that been a problem with people just, doing Dukes of Hazzard and chasing across the county and then maybe somebody gets hurt?
Oh, of course. Many people have lost their lives in this state from police chases. And one of the options, of course, is simply to not chase criminals. But the other, I think it does help to impose a more severe penalty on those people that would try to outrun the police. That puts everyone in danger when someone does that.
Oliver, are there any other bills that you think people should know about right now that's important to the state?
Uh, well, obviously, I think mine are the most important. Of course, every legislator does. I've got a rural physicians tax credit bill that I hope we can pass. And it's an incentive for physicians to move to rural areas of the state and stay there. I do think that's important. But there are a lot of really good bills in the Alabama legislature, and unfortunately, we can't pass them all. And of course, there are some bad bills too that hopefully we don't pass. Of course, that all depends on who you ask.
Yeah, on that topic, we have about the positions. There's a lot of focus on rural hospitals closing, keep rural hospitals open. But if your county doesn't have an obstetrician or it doesn't have an orthopedist who fixes, broken bones or a heart doctor, why would people even be going to the rural hospital because the specialists you need aren't in the rural hospital? Don't we have more of a physician shortage in rural Alabama necessarily than struggling? The two problems seem to be linked to me.
They are. And you're absolutely correct. We'll put people in an ambulance and drive them past 5 hospitals. They'll stay gone for 6 hours in that rural county we were just talking about. We'll have no ambulance coverage because they have to go so far and waste so much time to get that patient where they need to go. We've spent the last 40 or 50 years driving all the health care to urban areas. We need to reverse that trend. We need to have the care where people need it.
Does every one of our counties, do they have some type of hospital or medical facility?
No,
Okay, that's what I was just thinking.
you've
It's
got
like in
some
the
rural counties that have nothing.
Representative Oliver, the Democrats made a lot of noise when they were running Doug Jones for governor, and Ron Sparks was coming back for Commissioner of Agriculture, and I think your colleague Philip Emsler is running for lieutenant governor, and we're going to have a big bunch of statewide candidates. Then when qualifying came around, we had all that, but we didn't seem like many Democrats qualified, especially in rural Alabama. There's 50 seats out of the 105 in the Alabama House where the Republicans are going, whether it's the incumbent or his primary opponent, where there's just nobody running on the Democrat side. Did they miss an opportunity, or did they just not have any hope?
Well, I can do the math. Without some intervention from above, obviously no Democrats are going to win a statewide race in Alabama.
But my point was that you can't take control or take back, the power, the filibuster
Well, we
through
obviously
supermajority
have a
from the
super
Republicans
majority in the
unless you
House
run
and the Senate,
candidates.
right? With a supermajority in each house, I would say the future of the Democrats in a statewide race would be slim and none.
Along those same lines, talking about parties, we've just seen, Dean Odle removed from the ballot, Jesse Battles, Jessica Ross, and I can't, I'm going to butcher Doc's name. Dean Odle obviously violated the sore loser law, but the other three, was that not an overreach by the party?
I can't weigh in on that. I'm on the executive committee, and I will voice my opinion in the proper forum.
We have record revenue, but it seems like our rate of increase has been dropping. We've really grown in the last 4 years a bunch, but it seems that the rate of growth has decreased in the budgets. Is there an issue with revenue moving forward where we need to look at other revenue sources, or do we need to start maybe gunning back and cutting a bunch of stuff in the coming years?
I think for every increase in expenses, then you need to find something to cut. That's my personal opinion. So, yeah, I think we need to reach some sort of balance.
Do you ever foresee the rest of the grocery tax coming off?
I do. I think we have growth in Alabama that is spectacular at this point, particularly in our fastest growing areas. So I could see that. Now, also remember that the grocery tax, you look at how we spend that. I think it's counterintuitive to tax people's food. I don't see that as a tax that's wholesome or healthy for the state. So I would like to get that gone.
Representative Oliver, some of the larger municipalities, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Hoover, so on and so forth, have complained that the way we allocate the online sales taxes doesn't properly compensate them, because before we had online sales, everybody traveled to their malls to buy stuff. So they want to change the formula around. Is there an appetite for that in the legislature, or are rural communities say, hey, yeah, it's our people,
I'm
we want
from
to
a
keep
rural
our sales
district,
tax
and
high?
there's not much appetite in the district I'm from. I think we like the split that we have now. We'll see how the Big Ten mayors, how we prosecute this as we go forward. And everything changes, but I think right now the district I'm from really likes what we have. Now, remember, part of my district is Lee County, so they may feel a little differently about it. But we'll sit down and get this hashed out.
Do you ever foresee the state income tax coming down? Because all the states around us, I think, don't have one.
Well, not unless our property taxes go up. It's going to be one or the other. And Alabama is very resistant to any increase in property tax. Still
On
costs more
that
to live in
line,
Florida. They don't have an income tax, but it still costs more to live there than it costs to live in Alabama.
on that line, if you've been following, on the local bills, it seems like there's a lot of legislators passing local bills where seniors don't get property tax increases on their homesteads. That seems there were like two or three of those on Tuesday when I was listening. Is that going to be a danger to some of these property tax collections in the future?
It could be. I think the thing we got the most criticism for as far as property taxes is when we capped the ad valorem tax. That was the most significant thing we did in terms of revenue. Gentlemen, let me answer one more question and then let me depart. I'm going to go to another meeting.
I think that's all I've got, unless
Understood.
you want got something, Brandon.
Yeah, anything you've got, Representative
Thank y'all
Oliver,
for
that you'd like
including
to
me.
add before we go?
Thank you for coming on, sir.
Well, I love being the chairman of Military and Veterans Affairs, and I have really enjoyed watching the way we've expanded the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs. That's worked very well. I would like to say that we are still striving with the Military Stability Commission to make Alabama the most favorable place that a veteran could ever pick to retire and live. There are 400,000 veterans in this state, and I think we've done everything and we're still doing everything we can to attract those people to come and live here. And with
Thank you,
that,
sir.
I'm going to blast off. Thank you, and holler at me anytime.
Thank
And I'm
you.
sorry I'm so hard to get hold of.
Oh,
Thank
no
you,
problem
sir.
at all. You did great. Thanks,
Thank
Representative
you.
Oliver.
All right, bye bye.